What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. So when I heard that we were going to be getting more books for the Court of Thorns and Roses series, I was really excited. You always get that little bit of a heart attack when you're like, okay, but it ended so happily, and like, you know that like you don't want like your favorite characters to be like ripped apart and like all of a sudden they're like back into this mess again. So I was like a little bit worried, but the interesting thing about what Sarah J Maas is doing is that she's kicking off a new series that isn't going to focus necessarily on Rhys and Feyre. Instead, we're going to get more of a focus on Cassian and Nesta, and I think more a little bit if we can go from this book as a judge. And what this book is, it's just a little short novella. It's going to bridge those series together. So this one takes place after the war. It takes place on the winter solstice. It's kind of like Christmas. Feyre's birthday is going on, and we get to see how our Court of Dreams are doing and like how they're getting ready for the holiday. We're getting a little bit about what we're probably going to explore into the next few books, but it's mostly about trauma and hope and trying to come back from this crazy war, seeing where all of our characters are at in their headspace, because yes, it did have a happy ending, but trauma still lingers. Just because you beat the bad guy at the end of the day doesn't mean that you aren't going to be affected by it. And so I really liked seeing that. This book is mostly told from Feyre and Rhys's perspective, but we do get a little bit of Cassian. We get like a little hint to Nesta just kind of at the very end, and we get a little bit of more as well. And I really love that it shows those, because those three characters, Mor, Cassian, and Nesta, are the ones that are really dealing with some serious stuff after the effects of Wings and Ruin, so it's really getting you ready for where we're going to be going in our next series. But when it comes to Rhys and Feyre, they are pretty good. They're very happy, they're just very busy, and you're still seeing that like there's a lot of gray in Feyre's world still. Like, she's still coming back from a lot of the trauma, a lot of the stuff that she's faced, and she hasn't been painting as much recently, and it's not so much that she's afraid to, like in Mist and Fury, but it's just she's afraid of what's going to come out if she does, and she hasn't had the time for it. And we kind of slowly see her figure out that creating something and like doing the things that you love are outlets to deal with your grief, and she wants that for herself, and she also finds out that she wants to help other people discover this. And that was just really amazing for me to see, because one, this series has a really near and dear place to my heart. I read the first one, I absolutely loved it, but then I sat on it for a year and I didn't read A Court of Mist and Fury until a lot later. When I read that book, I was at kind of an interesting place in my life, and just seeing Feyre go through all of her trauma and her grief and come back from it, and going together with like the Court of Dreams, I just really connected to that story. I really connected to those characters, and I became very, very invested in this. And so this series has like had this really, you know, like near and dear place to my heart. Hearing them talk about having that creative outlet, having a way to just deal with things, finding your hope shining through the void, it just really hits home for me. And if I can just be real with you guys for a second, the whole reason I make videos is because it's my way of dealing with everything. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and like pour my heart out about it, but being able to like process my thoughts and just like get them out there, even if I'm just shouting into the void, helps me deal with it because it's not stuck in my head anymore. And so seeing that and like seeing that these characters are going through the same thing, it just makes me feel even more connected to them, just more and more and more. And I can't even begin to describe what that means to me. And from the very first page, like, I'll tell you what, my favorite line from this whole series is to the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. The dedication in this book is dedicated to the readers who look up at the stars and wish. And I couldn't believe that it actually had that. That meant so much to me, and this book meant so much to me. Seeing Feyre go on this journey, knowing that we're gonna get so much more with Cassian, especially Mor. I really love Mor's story. I really want to see where she's going next. Just meant a lot to me. And it's such a short little book that honestly, you could just pick this up and read it whenever you want. And what I love about it is that this is truly a love letter to people who loved this series and people who love these characters and just want to spend more time with them. And that's just exactly what this book is, and I loved every single second of it. I am very, very excited for the next series to come. I don't know exactly when we're going to be getting it, but there is a little bit of an excerpt in the back end of this book, which was really, really fun, so I'm very excited excited. And if you haven't read this book, weren't thinking about picking it up, or you just haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses at all, I highly, highly recommend that you do. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every week. That is everything got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!